Hello there and welcome back to another edition of Silly Car Showdown. Today we are taking a look at the Quartz Regalia's evil twin. This is the Quartz Regalia D-Type, the off-roady monster truck version of the Regalia, which we saw last time. This is a very weird car. I've got no idea why it exists. It apparently has two sets of exhausts, like some up here and then more back here. I'm sure there's some explanation as to why this thing exists, but it's in the games, and again, as I said last time, I've never played the games, nor have I had any interest to, so no idea. Anyways, what I do know is we are going to treat this one a little bit differently to the Regalia we had last time. It does still have the standard engine and makes exactly the same amount of horsepower as the normal version does, so we are going to switch out that engine, and we have two options in the case of this car. A 6.5 litre V12 and the racing 7.2 litre V8. I'm not actually sure on this one. I don't know where to go with the... Shall I go with the V8 because the V8's a bit lighter? But then again, in a car like this, does lightness really matter? We'll go V12. Sod it. May as well. And of course we will stick the twin turbo setup on that. As usual, no Forza Aero is allowed, which is probably a good thing because this thing had exactly the same Forza Aero as the standard car, which means it looks even more ridiculous on this one. In terms of tyres, absolutely nothing you can do. I have no idea what size the stock wheels and tyres are, but I can't find out anyways. I know it's on off-road tyres, I know that much. Which also means that handling stat isn't going to come up, which is a little bit worrying. Yeah, this car probably will not be quite as quick or as nice as the stock version was. Also, no tunable suspension either by the looks of it. It gets better as it goes on. The roll cage, we will have that. Weight reduction reduces 1,422 pounds, so it brings us... To be fair, weight-wise, this probably isn't going to be the issue with this car, because the weight is gonna be somewhere around where the normal version was. It's just gonna be a case of it's just got bigger wheels and it looks way more ridiculous. Put those on. S1 870, S1 874. Oh wow! So we're actually within 1 PI of the standard car, which is interesting. Of course, we do have wildly different statistics: 1,515 horsepower, 1,101 foot-pound torque, 4,634 pounds of weight, 3 seconds 60. Top speed of 168 miles per hour. I will have a quick look at the gear ratios on this, because I might need to adjust those depending. I mean, 168 miles an hour isn't bad, but I will just have a quick look at these. Okay, never mind, that does seem like they should be okay. Well, that's the D-Type, or Type D, I should say. I keep calling it D-Type because I'm used to the Jag, but there you go. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think this is going to end pretty poorly, but I'm sure that's what you're all hoping for anyway. Let's get on the track and see how well this goes. So, here we are at our Edinburgh track with our, frankly, ridiculous Regalia D-Type ready to lay down 5 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Ferrari FXXK. This vehicle is very unlikely to beat that one. In fact, it's very unlikely to beat the time of the stock car, which had a time of a 1:45.140. Because as I was moving this around on the start line, I noticed a couple of key issues. One, I didn't realise it'd be quite this big, and two, my god, the suspension travel is something else, let me tell you. Yeah. It doesn't feel massively secure, it has to be said, but we shall see as we leap into the air. I mean, it should soak up bumps quite nicely, but unfortunately a side part of that is it's probably going to create its own bumps, one would imagine, but there you go. It also has these ridiculous exhausts that shoot flames right into your eye socket every time you change gear, which is, well, quite a few times when you change gears, so that's not exactly useful. Yeah, you can see the way the car leans down. It's not too happy. The worst bit is once you actually get it in a straight line, it seems to be relatively quick. Gearbox is very, very short ratioed, as we kind of guessed it would be. And the actual grip levels aren't too bad. It does like to get into a bit of a four-wheel power slide though, which is not great. And through this section, probably not going to be great either. I wonder if I can just drive over that barrier. I would try it, but maybe that'll be something for a couple of laps time. I don't know if the diff will knock on the floor though, because you might notice one thing about this vehicle is it has a ridiculously big differential sort of on the front of it with the Quartz logo, which ironically enough just looks like a default logo from Automation, but there you go. So far so good though. The time isn't too terrible on its first outing, 1:53.754. If I had to guess, it's probably going to go somewhere around 150s. I'll be surprised if it does much more than that. I certainly do not see this being anywhere near the same level of the standard car, just because it's probably just as quick as a standard car, but it's ridiculously hard to control. I will say, to its credit, I got a chance to drive this on a dirt path just outside the house I filmed these from earlier. And on dirt, it handles pretty darn well. It actually seems like it'd be a really capable off-roader, which is kind of the point of it, but still, I digress. It feels like it would be a pretty good off-roader, but other than that, it really doesn't seem like it has much use. But there you go. On the brakes. Attempt to get on the brakes. One good news about having a short gearbox is you're not really sort of bound to always be in the correct gear, because eventually you should have enough power on tap to get yourself out of it, especially when that said short ratio gearbox happens to be attached to 1500 horsepower. That also helps it slightly. We can sort of drive over that a little bit. I don't want to risk that too much, because I know, knowing Forza, there's probably going to be a solid invisible wall right there, but if we can drive over that, I guess that would be something to work to this car's advantage. Lord knows it needs it. Yeah, not quite the biggest car we've ever had. I don't think it's quite as tall and as big as the Unimog, but it's probably not far off if I had to guess. I'm just going to take them out. 149.905. Okay, so that's not bad. Did I miss that checkpoint? Yes, I did. Excellent. Yeah, 149.905. That's not bad at all, actually. Just sort of looking at the leaderboard, that would put it in a relatively okay place. Ironically, as much as I mention cars in like the 150 area, we've never actually had a 150 go round yet. I've had a couple of 159s, like low 159s. I've had a bunch of 151s, but never a 150, which is interesting to note, but there you go. So I've got a bit of an itchy old face going on here. May as well take advantage of the fact this thing is not going to go any quicker this lap and sort that out. Yeah, I mean, it causes destruction better than pretty much anything we've had go around. I don't think much is going to stop the Regalia from running through it. I also like how I've just noticed the exhaust with the backdraft is all of them, like all 9 of them. How does this not make more power than the stock car? Like, wouldn't it make more sense for this to make more power than the stock? But there you go. Apparently it doesn't. I'm waiting for the backdraft just so I can prove that I was not going mental and didn't see it come out of all of the exhaust at once. Yeah, I'd be interested to find out the lore on this one, because it actually looks like it's a relatively official conversion, hence why it has the Quartz sort of badging on the differential at the front. Yeah, it is all 9 exhausts lighting up the sky at once. All of this wonderful pollution has come to Edinburgh. How wonderful is that? And I hear a Hoover. How wonderful. Anyways, I better not come up here. Yeah, they're pretty okay-ish. Like, the actual driving is ridiculous. Alright, let's just get that out of the way. It's soft, it's wallowy, the tyres are nice and big. It is ridiculous to drive, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I can safely say I've driven worse cars around this track. If this was rear-wheel drive, I think we'd have more issues, to be perfectly honest with you. If this was rear-wheel drive, there is a high chance this could be absolutely bleeding atrocious, but because it's four-wheel drive, because it's got a decent amount of grip, and because you can just basically plant your foot and it'll move, it's not too bad, in all honesty. Alright, coming up here. Ooh, there we go. It also deals with the bumps amazingly well, as you'd expect from a car with ridiculously soft-do suspension and all the rest of it. Yeah. A really rather good car. Well, I'd say a really rather good car. It's good for what it is. I mean, the size is also another issue we have to contend with. It's too big. Like, ridiculously big, especially for the streets of Edinburgh. This is sort of a tighty technical course, and yeah, it certainly does not get on well with it. And I told you there'd be an invisible wall there. Like, I'm sorry, this probably should clear that. In fact, it's quite visibly clearing that, but there you go. Alright. So it's all to play for in the final lap. I don't really see it going that much quicker. Jesus Christ, it feels very weird driving up here. Do you know what it feels like I'm driving? It feels like I'm driving that giant fire truck from the Rammstein Benzin video. If you've never seen that, watch that. It's Benzin. It feels like I'm driving that, in all honesty, but there you go. Alright, final lap. Come on, Type D. Let's see what you can do. I should really call it the Type Dale, considering the livery. And fuck. Yeah, it had its good lap. Maybe it could have gone quicker, but it's not good. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just not. It is not set up for a track like this. This is not what it's here to do. It's not here to go around the streets of Edinburgh as fast as possible. It's set up to climb all of the things and destroy all of the things, and it can do that quite well. And indeed in Edinburgh it can do that quite well, but it's really not meant for a track like this. It's really not meant for a challenge like this. It's just meant to do its usual thing. In all honesty, maybe like a high 149 could have been, or a low 149 could have been possible. Maybe a high 148 if the lap went completely perfectly, but I'm not really going to lose sleep over the fact that the Quartz, you know, it did have some bad luck. That was bad luck at the end of the day. But it definitely has understeer. I haven't spoken that much about the way it drives, but I think, honest to God, the video is doing a pretty good justification of how this thing drives. It understeers, it wallows, it's surprisingly okay with dealing with the power, I will give it that, but it really cannot do much else. Stick to the off-road routes, stick to using this purely as a silly car, don't try and make a race car out of something that isn't. That's what the standard Regalia exists for, and that's a really good car. Drive that instead of this. That's my recommendation to you when it comes to how to deal with this car. Yeah, probably could have got like a 1.9, but I don't think it was really too well enough off to go ahead and do that. Yeah. Perhaps a bit of a disappointment when it comes to the Regalia, but, or I should say the Regalia Type D. The standard car is really good. The Type Dale is not quite as good, but it's not as bad as it could have been, but I wasn't expecting greatness, and I certainly was not expecting this thing to be good or drivable, and it's not particularly either of them, but you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a big V12 all-wheel drive car, so it is going to do relatively well around our track. Although I'm sure, I think there's one car requested to me that probably is going to break that rule. Anyways, with a 149.905, the Quartz Regalia Dale type goes in to a 33rd place. It goes in between the Honda Civic RS and the Morris Minor Turbo Traveller, both of which are slightly less ridiculous than this is. It is about 5 seconds down on the standard Regalia. In terms of other cars like this, I guess there's the Transit, but even that's not really comparable, so we haven't had a whole lot of stupid off-roading, silly, high horsepower cars yet, but give it time. I'm sure this thing will gain natural rivals, but it is probably one of the most ridiculous cars in Horizon 4, so there you go. Anyway, so thank you all very much for watching this edition of Silly Car Showdown. I do hope you've enjoyed. As always, if you've got cars that you would like to request for this series, you can do so down below in a couple of ways. One way is by going into the comment section and requesting your car there. Alternatively, you can drop in to my Discord, link in the description below, and put the cars in the request chat. That is my preferred method because it allows me to keep track of everything, but you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're watching this on HG Central, in the description is a link to my channel, which you can come check out if you want to experience some subpar content, or if you just want to find that Discord link. With that all being said and done, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a farewell.